All right, we're back and we're on. This is the CSRN podcast, our weekend review, where we come to you live from Mont Branch Library to talk about the things that we've done last week, the things that we're working on right now, which is National Women's History Month, and some of the things that we got coming up in the future. What we're going to do right now is play our intro video. That way you can like, share, and comment. This is the CSRN podcast, our weekend review. We'll be right back.
I must confess that that dream that I had that day has at many points turned into a nightmare. Now, the other thing that we've got to come to see now that many of us didn't see too well during the last 10 years, that is that racism
not guilty
is still alive in American society and much more widespread.
Broke his neck after Baltimore police.
A handful of protesters, a handful of criminals and thugs who...
Many in moments of anger, many in moments of deep bitterness, engage in riots. And as long as America postpones justice, we stand in the position of having these recurrences of violence and riots over and over again. Social justice and progress are the absolute guarantors of riot prevention.
Mr. Gray's death was a homicide.
The Negro was freed from the bondage of physical slavery.
The athletes marched onto a stage.
But at the same time, the nation refused to give him land to make that freedom meaningful. Freedom without land to cultivate. It was freedom and famine at the same time.
and create jobs for our people.
The Negro is to be free. He must move down into the inner resources of his own soul and sign with a pen and ink of self-assertive manhood his own emancipation proclamation. But I want to get the language right tonight. I want to get the language so right that everybody here will cry out, yes, I'm black, I'm proud of it, I'm black and beautiful. Individually, we are poor when you compare us with white society in America. We are poor. Collectively, we are richer than all the nations in the world with the exception of 9. That's power right there if we know how to prove it. We begin the process of building a greater economic base. And at the same time, we are putting pressure where it really hurts. We don't have to argue with anybody. We just need to go around to these stores and to these massive industries in our country. Say, God sent us by here to say to you that you're not treating his children right. We come by here to ask you to make the first item on your agenda fair treatment where God's children are concerned. Now, if you're not prepared to do that, we do have an agenda that we must follow. And our agenda calls for withdrawing economic support from you. We mean business now, and we are determined to gain our rightful place in God's world.
All right, we are back. This is the CSRN podcast, our weekend review, where we come to you live from Mott Branch Library. And shout out to the staff at Mott Branch that every week they roll out the red, black, and green carpet. Let's get into some introductions. I'm Brother Washington Muhammad. I'm one of the co-founders of CSRN, along with Mike Leonardi and Jabril Bay 10 years ago. And it's going to be 11 this year, Jody.
11 in November.
All right, but I'm going to say 10 right now because I don't want to speak something that I really don't have the capacity to back up. So 10 years ago, they had the idea of Community Solidarity Day. And what they wanted to do is speak truth to power, not needing professionals, politicians, and others to speak for us. So they got a book of facts, a megaphone, and they brought together a lot of the protesters. And we created this space where no matter who you are, you can speak truth to power. We're unbought, unbossed. What am I wearing? Today I have on my Your Vote Matters shirt. This is from the ACLU of Ohio. We spoke about issue 2 last week. I've got my yellow beads on because I got a yellow T-shirt that kind of, my black hat, and always dedicated to respecting, protecting, and defending all Black bodies, no matter the cost, no matter the gains or loss. This is the home of Black Lives Matter and Justice or Else, and we're just doing this for the activist culture and the protest community. Jody, I think that, man, I'm looking at our backdrop. We got a lot of little unique stuff back there. Unique stuff back there. All right. Hey, look, I think I'm done with my intros. If you can do your intro, the mission statement, and since it's Women's History Month, if you could list after that 3 women that have really made a positive impact on your life. All right, then I'll get to the guiding principles.
All right, everybody, what's up? Jody J. Summers, child of the system, better known as Spoken Truth, treasurer of this organization. And before I go into my normal and everything like that, if you know where we record and you know what's going on here recently, I see it's going viral and everything on public. I want to give my deepest condolences out to the body, or it's a lot that's going on. To the young lady that they found, that we've been searching for and talking about, and all of the stuff. My deepest condolences to the family. I know there were some details this morning, but I hope everybody involved is caught, and some other stuff I can't say on air right now.
Yeah, we'll say it afterward.
For those of you that don't know me that well and stuff, being a trauma response, anything type of person in this world is very difficult. So if you're out there and you're feeling drained right now, it's understandable. There is a lot going on. One of our old mentees, as I was scrolling through some stuff, has found out he's committed some deeds that might put him away for a long time. So whatever you see on the media or on pages and stuff, just condense it to the fact that we deal with a lot we don't ever talk about or can't talk about because of NDAs and stuff like that. But if you're out there and you're feeling the pressure of summer, spring, everybody, stuff like that, it's okay. So,
all right,
back to that.
All right.
We describe ourselves because we are a part of this community. We aren't just somebody coming into the community and saying we're going to do stuff and everything like that. We live here, we work here, we talk to people outside of the show, outside of our jobs and stuff like that to make it better. And this is why we describe ourselves to you. I am a big brown bear of a man that is covered in tattoos and crystals and stones and bones and artifacts from meeting people for the last decade. I just celebrated a decade of using my voice to propel the manifestation of the reality I want to live in. It's working out well, but this is why we describe ourselves, because we don't want you just hearing stuff. There are so many podcasts and so much chatter and noise out there. People get lost in the non-resource or what is that word? You know, when you go to college and you got to do something, you got to provide some type of proof.
Just say stuff because we got to get all right.
Okay. Anyway, doing the research and stuff like that. But this is how you get there. We've been together again, as he said, almost 11 years. It takes a lot to make this work. It definitely takes all of you being here. And if you're starting something, If you want something to last, you have to have a mission statement
and the guiding principles,
which is like our walls and foundation, into making sure that when we're here, the mission of this is bigger than us. I'll be gone one day, but Washington will be gone one day.
Whoa, why I gotta be gone? All right, here's what it is.
But it'd be new people ahead of this.
Okay, all right, that's what you meant. Okay.
An organization, not just a fan club or something for somebody to look at and say, hey, well, they're gone. We're just going to stop it. This is why we're doing this. So we thank you for almost 11 years of listening, and why, even though it may be annoying to some people and they're like, why don't they just do the show? We remind you because this is the ground, the hill that we die on. We are the Community Solidarity Response Network of Toledo, formed on November 25th, 2014, the day after it was announced that the killer, a Ferguson, Missouri police officer of Michael Brown, an unarmed teenager, would not be indicted. We bring awareness to the injustices experienced by Black men, women, and children who are disproportionately murdered, attacked, provoked, and harassed by law enforcement. Police brutality has to end. We bring awareness to the fact that most often, yes, most often, police brutality goes without consequence and accountability. Police impunity has to end. We utilize the tactics of protest, civil disobedience, event disruption, and citizen advocacy to give voice, yes, voice to those who are otherwise voiceless. We facilitate progressive, community-based events that help foster self-development, and we discuss measures to hold local leadership accountable, yes, accountable to their sworn duties, be they politician, clergy, law enforcement, educators, etc., etc. We want justice, equal justice under the law. We want justice applied equally to all, yes, all, regardless of class, creed, or color. For all lives to matter, Black lives, yes, Black must matter. And justice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr.
All right. So it's National Women's History Month. We've got a dynamic guest, and if watching the event for the podcast, so you already know who we got. So I'm not going to say it right now. 3 women in your life.
Go first.
All right. Oh, do the guiding principles and then do mine, or you want me to do mine now?
Do yours. I'll do mine. And
all right. I thought of this earlier this week, because if I didn't say this, I would be in a lot of trouble. Here are the 3 women that have made a tremendous impact on my life. First is my wife, Yvette. It will be 34 years. We'll be celebrating our 34th year anniversary this year. I'm going to try my best to sign her on for the 34-year plan. All right, again. Her mom, Yvette's mom, is a sweetheart, and a lot of people get mother-in-law jokes. I am not about to do a mother-in-law joke, but that's the mother of the woman that I married, so she's definitely special. And I don't get a chance to talk about my mother. If I had listened to my mother, I remember in the 80s, I was telling her, Mom, it's 1983. This is the future. What do you know? You don't know anything. All right. Well, you know what? She knew a lot. So those are the 3 women that have made a difference in my life. What I'm going to do right now is go ahead and get to our guiding principles. This is what it's keeping all the activists together. Myself and Jody, we may be the ones that you see on the podcast, but there's a lot of us that work to promote speaking truth to power, regardless of the obstacles, regardless of the odds. And these are our guiding principles. All Black lives matter. Queer Black lives, trans Black lives, formerly and presently incarcerated Black lives, poor working class Black lives, differently abled Black lives, Black men and women lives, immigrant Black lives, Black elderly and children lives. All Black lives matter and are the creators of this space. We throw no one under the bus. We rise together. Ashe.
Ashe.
And Ashe means one who changes a thing or one who makes a thing happen. thriving instead of surviving. Our vision is based on the world we want, not the one we're currently in. We seek to transform, not simply react. We want our people to thrive, not just exist. Think beyond the possible. Ashe?
Ashe.
Experimentation and innovation must be built into our work. Embrace the best tools, practices, and tactics, and leave those behind that no longer serve us. Ashe?
Ashe.
Evaluation and assessment must be built into our culture. Critical reflection must be a part of all of our work. We learn from our mistakes and our victories. Ashe?
Ashe.
Principal struggle can exist in a positive environment. We must be honest with one another by embracing direct, loving communication. Ashe?
Ashe.
Love, self-love is practiced in every element of all we do. Love and self-love must be a driver of our work and an indicator of our success. Without this principle and without healing, we will harm each other and undermine our movement. Ashe?
Ashe.
360-degree vision. We honor past struggles and wisdom from elders. The work we do today builds the foundation of movements of tomorrow. We consider our mark on future generations.
Ashe.
Self-care means we build resilient spaces by budgeting time, energy, and resources for healing. Self-care is a regular, consistent, intentional, and essential practice. Ashe?
Ashe.
The most directly affected people are experts at their own lives and should be in leadership at the center of our movement and telling their stories directly. Ashe?
Ashe.
Training and leadership development should be fundamental. Our movement must constantly grow and leadership must constantly multiply. Ashe.
Ashe.
Hey, those are our guiding principles. We adopted those from the movements for Black Lives convening in 2015, and we made some changes so that it could really
Fit our community.
Fit our community and what we do. Hey, it's National Women's History Month.
Yep. My three people, real quick, and then we're gonna go on to our awesome guest who has a gift waiting here, as I've been doing lately.
Okay.
With my stuff.
I didn't know we were giving out gifts now.
Yeah. Come on the show, you get something. I mean, although we do, I love our live customers, but my three people are, of course, my mother, who I would not be here with. I just celebrated 10 years of turning all of that pain and trauma and everything into a better, more educated and healed version of myself, celebrating 10 years of independency just a couple days ago. I got to speak for the Black Media Week, and we'll talk about that later on. But the second person is my sister, because I don't pick on her enough.
Okay, yeah, all right.
She is very opposite of everything that most people know Jody as, and I know I spoke of myself in third person, but most people get that version of me.
Yeah, I know I do.
When at the house or when we were planning meetings and stuff like that. So, and then to Paula Hicks Hudson, our former mayor, current state rep. I want to say state rep.
Yeah, she is.
State
yeah,
rep.
she is.
Who many years ago, as I highlighted other people and Eldon and stuff, was one of the first people that got me into politics and understanding that they are people. They can make mistakes, but they work well. Some of them. I can't speak on the federal level, but at least the people that I met on the local and state level work very hard to try and do stuff in rooms where they are massively outnumbered by people I can't speak of or we get banned. But anyway, those are my three people. And who we got coming up?
Well, we're going to take a short break. All right. And we want you to stay tuned. This is the CSRN podcast. Our week in review. We'll be right back.
Did you know addiction is a disease, not a moral dilemma? The opioid epidemic and substance use have a major impact on communities of color and many people's lives. Wasion Wellness Recovery Support Center offers culturally relevant inpatient and outpatient behavioral health treatment and recovery support services to any Ohioan struggling with addiction, mental health, or finding sober-safe housing. We must recognize that treatment is available and accessible to all. If you are in need of treatment or want to find out more information, you can call 1-888-728.
Now you can get the same uncompromising truth you've come to expect from the Final Call newspaper on all your connected devices. Subscribe to the Final Call Digital Edition today. Go to subscribe.finalcalldigital.com.
We're out of here. So good. Hey, listen, we are back. Hey, we're still on camera too. Jody, I need to switch to camera one. It's all good. All right. So here we are. We are back. This is the CSRN podcast. Jody, you were talking to me, and I didn't get a chance to just hit all the buttons. This is live, so hey, maybe we'll edit that out with the use of AI. Okay, no, Jody. What? No. Okay. What's no okay, AI? Okay. Last week we said that we're going to get a third camera for Jody and a third microphone so that you can hear when he's interrupting and when he's disrupting and all of that. So what we're going to do, we're going to bring the microphone down just a bit. Now, here's our CSRN tradition. Whenever we have a guest, we ask them who they are, what they're wearing, and what are we talking about today. So who are you? What are you wearing? And what are we talking about today?
Well, hello, my name is Pastor Irene Blue, and I am wearing one of my favorite colors, which is a rust orange sweater, black pants, and black boots. And I was invited to talk about Women's History Month.
That's right. So, all right. So one of the things that that Jody stresses that whenever we talk about history, it doesn't have to be about people that are gone, you know, that we're going to say ashe, or some of the people that are making history are still here. So I wanted to talk first about your pastor. What led you? It's a male dominated thing. All right. You know that. All right. What led you to minister instead of maybe being in charge of Bible study or the women's ministry or anything else? What led you to the ministry?
Okay. I believe I'm truly one of those people who follows the breadcrumbs that God leaves.
Okay, all right.
Or leaves for me. And I just think back early in my life, even as a young child, I was interested in God. I was interested in the things, you know, about faith and who God was. And, you know, I would watch the Bible stories as a child. And at one point, one of my friends invited me to go to church. And it wasn't to go to an actual service, but it was to go to Sunday school and learn how to crochet, do hook latch sets. And so I started going to Sunday school, and the love of God just started growing in my heart.
That's awesome.
And eventually, I probably about 7th or 8th grade, I can remember producing a 1-pager or 2-page documents and typing up my own little newsletter, giving it to my whole family. Whether they believed or not, or were worshiping or not, and working in church, youth choir, usher board,
right.
You know, whatever, you know, it's hooked. I was doing those things, and it was just breadcrumbs along the way. And again, seeing things in faith, seeing the works of the Holy Spirit, and wanting more and wanting a deeper relationship with God, I pursued it.
That's beautiful.
And you know, fast forward, and I mean, that's from youth. Fast forward, you know, you come to all the way to Toledo. You go through church in your life, and some areas, sometimes of my life, I wasn't necessarily directly involved, especially on college campus, but I still came back and attended church services. You know, when I was home from campus. But when I got married and had my family, I wanted to become more involved in the church that I was attending at that time. And so I was at Calvary Baptist Church, and I became a deaconess. Actually, I was one of the first deaconess in the church's 75-year history. They installed a number of deaconess, and I was one of them.
Wow. Okay.
Eventually moved on from there, went to Gethsemane Christian Discipleship Church, became a elder. A teaching elder, then a preaching elder, which, you know, again, here goes these breadcrumbs. I didn't expect to be preaching and teaching, but I did. decided that I wanted to put some education behind what I was sharing, more education in addition to what I'd already learned through church and Sunday school. And so I went to seminary. I went to Weinbrenner Theological Seminary in their Master's of Arts and Practical Theology training course. Thought about MDiv, but it would have taken about 4 additional years. And I was like, no, I don't know if I want to do that. But ironically, I finished that program under the tutelage of my new pastor, Pastor Irene Petaway, and she's passed on now. But graduated from seminary in July of 21. She passed in August of 21, and the church said, hey, we need to keep this going. And I was the last person in the room prior to her departure. And I said, Lord, be it unto me according to your will. And, November 21st of 2021, I was installed as the pastor of Kingdom Community Christian Ministries. And we are just keeping on.
All right. What was it like being under the tutelage of Pastor Petaway?
She was so knowledgeable. The fact that, again, pastoring is not for the faint of heart.
That's right.
And, there are some, female pastors in this city that are just amazing. Bishop Marjorie Holt, we're very close to her as well. And just having that education and having the knowledge, the biblical knowledge in the heart to teach is where she came from. And so I really learned to obviously put some knowledge and, not just, so many times we get into the emotional aspects in our churches, but you need some knowledge because when the emotional high comes down, what do you have to hold on to, and so that was truly just a blessing to be under, her leadership to gain that perspective.
All right. So we talked when we were off camera. What's your process for the word each week? How do you go about that?
Okay. There have been a couple of different ways. When I, again, worked weekly or actually annually with Pastor Petaway, we would plot out the entire year in terms of, okay, it's January, and what are we going to do for Resurrection Sunday? What are we going to do for Mother's Day, Father's Day? And what's going to be our church's theme for the year? And so each year we would develop a theme and we would develop a preaching or teaching schedule. And, as the Lord leads me, even now unto this day, I kind of use that philosophy, but more so I just rely on the Holy Spirit to kind of give me, again, not like those breadcrumbs.
That's
I'm
beautiful.
that breadcrumb kind of person. And we started off the year going through a proverb of day, and that really was a springboard to, just where we weave in the Spirit and go from one place to another. Always bring me back to the things.
That's
like I always
awesome.
like to, like for Women's History Month or Black History Month, to highlight something with respect to those topics, and that's kind of in me. But it's framed around where the Holy Spirit is leading me in God's Word to bring that to His people.
Well, I think that we talked earlier. Jody and I talked earlier in the week about talking to you about how do you bring your ministry, out here, because there was an article that you shared with me a few months back that you were championing dealing with the University of Toledo. But before we get to the bringing the pulpit to the public, we've got your husband here. All right. So I know we don't have another mic, but all right. What is it like pastoring a church, but also having a family, a whole family? It's a whole man here. There's a whole man here. How do you do that? How does that happen?
Again, ministry requires prayer, right? Much prayer. It gives me a lot of material.
Yeah.
But yes, many people ask me that. They say, you're a wife, you're a mother.
I can't figure that out.
You are, a professional in your career.
Right.
And again, I rely on, it's by the grace of God and the strength that He gives me, being prayerful, being careful, and knowing when to say no, knowing and having appropriate boundaries. By nature, I'm a
Man.
giver, and I love the phrase that, that says that givers must have boundaries because takers never do, and so I guard my time and my family, with all my heart, and as well as my ministry, and I don't let one or another thing overwhelm me, and I can feel it when I'm overwhelmed, and my family feels it because I'm like, the house isn't clean the way I want it to be clean.
She must be on one. Somebody took one too many.
Companies,
yeah.
Oh
man.
But we are a good partnership. My husband Tony is truly a protector, a provider,
That's beautiful.
and he keeps me, again, even when I want to go overboard and do too much, he keeps me balanced. And I really and truly appreciate him for that. And we're a team.
All right. All right. We earlier we talked about our guiding principles as that thing that keeps all of us together. That's like our kind of like our faith component. If we ever had a protester Bible, it will be the guiding principle. That's what's going to keep you there, or else the infighting and end this. So for the Blue family, what is it that has kept you two together? Because it's even more rare now. What is it that's kept you two together?
Okay, well, I was listening to you when you said you and your wife had been together for 34 years.
Right.
It'll be 24.
Oh man.
For us, in May, and I go back to one of my foundational scriptures that has been a guiding and a main line for my life, and it's, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. And I think God adds to us, but it's up to us to also maintain that. And marriage is about intentionality. It's about putting in the work. Anything worth having is worth working for. Is it easy? Not always. Sometimes it's wonderful and easy, and sometimes it's ugly and hard. But you pick your hard,
right.
Just like a single person. Okay, it's easy and say that, hey, I can go where I want, I can do what I want, but when at the end of the day, when you come home and you shut that door and it's you making decisions alone, some people would love that until they don't,
Until they don't.
And just like
you hear that,
Jody?
All right.
Being married, you love having that person that can help you make that decision until you don't,
Yeah. I know that.
Yeah, but that's where the collaboration
that's right.
and the give and take comes, and iron sharpening iron. Many times it comes down to protecting one another. The wife is, nudging the husband about eat right, go to your doctor's appointments, quit, eating that and drinking that and doing that too much.
Okay, do you all have meetings? Because I think those are the same things that I was at. All right,
all wives do that. But just like the husband will say, no, that's not your friend.
That's
like
right.
That person.
That's right.
You're not going to donate that to them.
That's
because
right.
They're going to misuse it.
That's right. Because I know them.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I know them.
Yeah.
All right. That's what's up.
Yes. Both of our parents. Both of our parents. He's right. Were married until death did them part. You're absolutely right.
So both of you come from families. Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. So it appears that both of you have already seen that it's possible.
Yes.
All right. So we're not going to throw in the towel because the toothpaste cap wasn't on, or you left the milk out, or those types of things that, of course, those are maybe trivial to you and I, but people will opt out of their relationship for things that we really could have worked out.
Absolutely.
We really could have worked that out. All right, my last question, and then I want to I'm always having another question, but I want to ask you, how do you bring your ministry, and how do you balance your your activism, the things that you're saying to make things better for other people? How do you balance that?
Recently, about a week ago, I was asked to participate in another call for Women's History Month, ironically. And the best person that I could think of as a biblical example was Esther.
That's beautiful.
In the Bible,
okay,
you know, Esther was someone who had been elevated, you know, despite her background. You know, she was in a, you know, both of her parents had passed on, and it was her cousin Mordecai who was her caregiver, and she was beautiful. And so she did a beauty pageant and was selected for the prince to be married. And at the same time, there was an evil ruler who wanted all the Jews killed.
Yeah.
And because of her seeking God, number one, for wisdom of how to address this, fasting and praying, and, you know, sharing, you know, this issue with her cousin, because he told her about, you know, what was happening. She sought God and she spoke up. And he says, you know, how do you know, that you weren't brought up and brought here and raised up for such a time as this?
Right.
You know, there is a time for everything.
Teach.
There's a time for everything, and God is calling us to, you know, and there's a way that you can advocate. I don't have to get up and cuss and fuss and throw anything, but I can, to your point, speak truth to power.
That's right.
And most importantly,
that's
I can
beautiful.
speak the power of the truth.
I
can speak what thus saith the Lord, and what pleases him and what breaks his heart. I can speak on those things that will cause him to be offended and warn the people who are not followers that you are offending God.
That's right.
By hurting the least of these. The poor will always be.
That's right.
And if you are doing things to intentionally harm those who the Lord has his eye on,
that's right,
he will defend them. And so I believe that it's important to always speak up. And I think that I was most passionate about the situation with the scholarships and the students, not just for my own child's sake, but and as I mentioned to you on the break, be it not for God himself and our education, that my parents were not afforded an opportunity to receive and attain, I would not be where I am in my career.
That's beautiful.
You know, biblically, and, you know, maybe in the church, there's a lot of people that have not pursued, you know, higher education in church environment, but it's been foundational for me. I have aunts who, my husband's side, my husband's blood aunts who, in their age, in their time, they grew up in Mississippi. They weren't allowed to go and get their educations either, but their brother would sneak hats in the cotton field.
Yeah.
And make it look as if they were out there picking cotton, so that when the lady drove by in the truck, she thought they were out there picking cotton. They were in school.
That's beautiful.
And then after school, they would come and finish getting their education. My mother may have gotten to 3rd or 8th grade. I think my father got to 3rd. My dad got to 8th grade. And so for me to sit with 2 master's, bachelor's degrees, 2 master's degrees is monumental in my family.
That's beautiful.
And so the attack to take education away, and even though they were limited in their education, my parents, just because they weren't educated, didn't mean that they didn't have other wit and common sense.
Yeah.
And so they, you know, had property and they worked. And my husband was a foreman in construction, so he was educated in his own way, not book taught, but he was experienced.
That's beautiful.
And so I'm thankful that education was a priority for us. And I definitely still believe that if you place God first, number one, and you are educated, you are skilled, you are basically unstoppable. If your faith is strong in God, and you know that you know that you know he's got your back, he's more than the world against you.
That's beautiful. All right, and that leads me to my next and hopefully final question. Within our guiding principles, we talk about self-care. That's when we will say, hey, listen, we're not going to have a podcast for 2 or 3 weeks. No more political talk. If there's a protest, somebody else is going to have to do it. We got to reel it in. All right. Okay. So how have you maintained your faith in times like this?
You know, someone once said to me, Brother Ronald Walker, he's one of the elders who served with me at Gethsemane. He says, what you feed will grow. What you feed will grow. And so if you feed yourself and your spirit on toxic, negative pollution, that's what you put junk in, you're going to get junk out. But if you feed your spirit then you will build that thing up where you're unshakable,
That's
unshakable faith. You know, you will be like the tree planted by the rivers of water.
That's
You
right.
shall not be moved. Just before coming in here, I was looking at an article and it was talking about if you read the word, read God's word maybe 2 times a week, it may have 0 to no impact. You know, that one time you go on the Sunday service
Right.
and that's all you get in, you know, that's all you're going to
Get out.
in.
That's right.
Get
Go
out.
ahead.
But 3, 4, and once you hit 4 times a week, some things start to change.
Yeah.
In your life, things start to fall off and there becomes a difference start to show up. And then when you start to share your faith, when you these are spiritual practices, reading God's word, spending time in prayer, meditating on his word. See, meditating and just completely emptying yourself. You emptying yourself, what's going to get in there?
That's
So we
beautiful.
have to be
That's
conscious
right.
of that because it is a true and real spirit world. We believe in angels.
That's right.
We believe in demons.
That's right.
And so we need to be aware of the
That's right.
impact of all of those influences and what they have on your life. But I personally am intentional about building myself up spiritually, spending time in God's word, going through a daily Bible through the reading year reading plan, spending time in prayer, setting time aside to consecrate, and then rest. Rest. We all need rest and relaxation because in my role as a pastor, in my role as a professional, everything I do surrounds someone else's problems, either spiritually
That's
or
true.
physically or
That's
whatever
true.
the case may be. And so I have to step away. And my husband knows we always have a joke. Mr. John Tesh says that if you take your wife on vacation 3 times a year, you have a better life. A better life. A happy wife is a happy
That's true.
life. You know, so it's important to
That's true.
To just regenerate yourself, get away from the phone, get away from, you know, some of the issues and just relax and have some quiet time for just yourself where you're not taking care of anybody else's problem. You're in a new environment and you are refreshed and renewed. Some people renew themselves in nature, others renew themselves in dancing and music,
Yeah, absolutely.
or whatever it takes for you to just enjoy your life.
All right. So if someone wanted to come and hear Pastor Blue, I think they put, I don't know if this is the flyer. It says, come worship and grow with us.
Yes.
It's okay. All right.
Yeah.
If someone wanted to come and hear you, where would they come? What would they expect?
Okay.
Maybe we need to have a field trip, Jody. All right. We got Pastor Blue here. Maybe we need to have a CSRN field trip where we have all the protesters. It's going to be Faith Week. All right. And for Faith Week, no, you can go too, Jamal. For Faith Week, we're going to pick our favorite pastor.
Oh, wow.
All right. And visit.
I would love that.
All right.
And I would encourage it and I would welcome it. You know, Kingdom Community Christian Ministry was birthed out of a family, and we, I would say, are small in number but mighty in faith. Every year, and I don't know if you're even aware of this, we, because of our size, you know, some churches have weekly you know, youth meetings or weekly, you know, other meetings and things of that nature. So we focus our times on Sunday. So we have prayer at noon, and then 12:30 is our service. And I'm usually done in just over an hour, about
Jody,
15 minutes.
You had me at over under an hour.
Yeah,
all right. That's
so,
what's up.
12:30, usually 1:30, I'm
That's
wrapping
beautiful.
up
Okay.
and you know, finishing up the service because our musician goes on to her service after that. But as part to give back to the community for the last 3 years, since our pastor Petaway passed away, my daughter was instrumental in kicking off a youth hygiene kit drive.
Well, that's
and so for the last 3 years, we put over 2,000 hygiene kits into local schools. I've even, you know, shared some with the local libraries that serve connecting kids to meals to provide hygiene kits into the community. It's our way of giving back. You know, so many times churches become a social club, and we wanted to do something that poured out to the community. So our traditional service, you come in, you get a couple of songs,
All right.
you get some prayer time, you
All
hear
right.
God's word,
That's
you
beautiful.
get some more prayer, you have an opportunity to be a blessing to the ministry, and then you go home and enjoy and apply what God has given us.
Pastor Blue, can we count on you and Mr. Blues to come back another time to talk about what's going on? Maybe there's something else that you'd like us to promote. Would that be okay?
Absolutely. We would love to.
Or anything else before we take a break and come back with Jody?
I wanted to share my top 3 women because you.
That's right, Jody. You need to be reminding me what I forget. All right, we always blame when things go well, everybody gets credit, but when things go bad, we blame it on Jody.
Okay.
All right.
So obviously my mother, my mother was a strong woman. And so many people ask me, well, how are you so strong? Strong people aren't strong because they want to be. They're strong because they gotta be. We don't have a choice. And so I looked to her. I remember her being up on the roof of an apartment building that we owned, mopping it down. I'm like, Mama, you 50-something years old. Why are you up on that roof? I didn't realize, I still can do it probably to this day.
All right.
But she was
50
doing
is
that.
up there though.
It was,
right.
and she was on that roof, mopping it down and tarring it, to get it together. But definitely her and just her strength and just how she showed me to be. I always say I hope I'm half the woman that she was. Second, close second is my sister in the fight that she often would have. I got to give her credit for the positive influences that she's had on my life. We all have moments where we have our challenges.
That's
but,
right.
She taught me to be a professional and to pursue professionalism.
That's awesome.
And then Cecilia A. Nadal is one of my very first employers. And at a young age, she had an agency that was a welfare to work program before they even named it that. And she showed me how to advocate for people who may not have even known how to solve a problem and see their way out. And so I'm thankful for the impact and the influences of those women on my lives and on my life. And I know that because of them, I am, and I like to, just remember, the impact they've had.
Oh, man. Hey, thanks for the reminder too. All right. Hey, listen, so we can count on you to come back. Bless our podcast, bless our studio again with your beautiful gift and everything that you say. We're going to put it in our toolkit so that we can stay not only physically and mentally healthy, but also spiritually too. Right? Hey, we'll be back with Jody's community shout outs and concerns. This is the CSRN podcast, a week in review. We'll be right back.
Pathway Incorporated Brothers United program believes that children are important. Every day we support and advocate for fathers because when children have involved fathers, the whole community thrives. The fathers that come into the Brothers United program are mostly young fathers who are primarily gang members or drug dealers or those involved in lots of trauma from the time when they were youth until now. The program has fatherhood classes which teach you about your role as a father, the importance of being a father, healthy relationships, how to co-parent and work better together with your co-parent, and then economic stability, how to get a job, how to keep a job. It is so important for fathers to learn to take care of their children holistically, not just emotionally, not just physically, but financially as well, because children need a holistic approach.
I really just needed help with really being a better father and looking for a job to be able to support my kids.
Some of the problems I was facing when I joined Brothers United was communication with my children. Had some time apart from each other for a while, so they gave me the tools to really get back in communication with them.
Fathers will come into our program with their heads down. 2 weeks later, their heads are up. 3 weeks later, they're laughing and talking. 4 weeks later, they're building a bond. And by the time we get to 8 weeks, they're saying, hey, we want to stay here. What can we do to stay connected?
It gave me a better perspective on how to look at things from other people's point of view. Sometimes us as men, we get caught up in being prideful and arrogant, thinking we don't need the help. We do. And we just have to put our pride, selfishness, and arrogance to the side and When the help is there, take it.
Hope plays the most important role in everything that we do because we have to have hope. We have to remember that fathers are important, and we have to not only say it, but we have to live it. We have to breathe it. We have to do it. We have to convey it to everyone.
Let's get a BU Nation on 3, fellas. 1, 2, 3. BU Nation!
The dads give us hope. The dads supply for us on the days when it gets hard. On the days when we've seen more violence than we ever want to see. On the days when we've lost some dads to jail or to murder, they give us hope. And so the hope that lives can change, if you invest in them, if you believe in them, then lives can change.
Brothers United changed my life, let's say, because of where I come from, what I've been through. I learned to understand it is help out there. Don't be scared to ask for it. If you don't reach, you can't grab. That's it.
They made me more employable, more desirable by employers, which in turn helped me provide for my family and provide for my children and my grandchild. So it makes me a better man, a better father, and a better example.
It showed me like how to be better to my kids, so I went and got custody of my son. My son been with me for a couple months now. So this showed me how to be a better parent all around, just a better man, period.
Initially, I didn't know that it could change men's lives. I didn't know that fathers could change. But it's amazing to me when fathers come back a year later, 2 years later, and tell us thank you. Or they'll make a Facebook post and say, look at what I'm doing now. It's amazing to me about the level of work that we've been able to do and the lives that we've changed in just a short period of time. And the fathers who come back and say, thank you, I needed you, and you were there.
And shout out to Brothers United, man. Be you.
There they go. There you go. Hey, listen, we are back. This is the CSRN podcast, our week in review. I know some people might be asking, what happened to your hat? Well, my hat is right here. All right. Hey, big shout out to Reggie Williams, a good looking brother. I had a chance to drop in and see him at the Friendly Center. And if you're having an event, if you're having a meeting, if you have anything that you need some space, check in with Reggie Williams at the Friendly Center. He'll get you together. And we're looking to have some CSRN events at the Friendly Center, and that will expand our sphere of influence. So great job. Great job.
Over there this
yeah,
year,
that's
Craig.
what's up. That's what's up. What else? Oh, I want to first, this is the last week of Ramadan. And for the whole, well, you didn't have to say it like that, but all right, yeah, you did not say it like that. But for the whole month, Ramadan is that which the Quran was revealed. It's a guidance to men and women and clear proofs of the guidance and the criteria. So Muslims around the world welcome the annual fast as a time of heightened devotion, self-analysis, and self-correction. Fasting during the month of Ramadan is an act of an individual restraint and collective advancement of goodwill in commemoration to the revelation of the Holy Quran. What do we do during Ramadan? We drink no water during daylight hours. We eat no food during daylight hours, nor do we have any relations with our mate, spouse during the daylight hours. We don't argue. We don't fight, nor do we do anything that will disturb our quest for closeness to God. And we do this fast, and this fast is designed by God to do. It gives us the power to guard against evil. So what that means is if you can abstain from the things that are lawful, food, water, arguing, those types of activities, then you can strengthen yourself when it's time to guard yourself against some of those bigger distractions that you have in your life. And Ramadan is 3 parts or 3 astras. First, we focus on mercy because everyone wants mercy. And those are those things that happen to you that could have easily been a lot worse, but God was merciful. The second astra is forgiveness. Most times we commit unfortunate things and we make unwise choices and we want to be forgiven. But sometimes in order to be forgiven, we have to have a forgiving spirit too. And the last astra is to be saved from the hellfire. And even though there's not a place in the ground, fam, that you're going to go after you die, hell is a state of mind, and the poor decisions that we make put us in a state of hell where you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know when the other shoe is going to drop. So we try our best to stay clear of making some of those horrible choices that we made earlier in the year. And also Ramadan gives me my system restored. It's like when your computer has a virus, something is going wrong, you hit system restore, you click on a point to start, and you click that point right before things went haywire. And Ramadan gives me an opportunity to have a system restore. So the last day is Monday. I think when that's the Eid feast, that's when we come together. We have a dinner. Is it? Yeah. Sunday.
5 more days.
Sunday. See, Dave, I did you a favor. However, this year for our Eid, it's going to be a challenge. Let's see. I thought I had this picture up here.
That was my question too. Is there any specific place that where people can go and celebrate? For Monday.
Generally, most local mosques will be having something. I was advise you to give them a call and see, what times they're going to. On this Sunday, I get a call saying that there is an automobile stuck inside of the mosque. So I just put a picture up there. So maybe about 3:00 in the morning, I get to the mosque just to see this Jeep Cherokee parked inside the mosque like that. So we're not going to be meeting there. So right now we're still in the up in the air on what we're going to do. What we are going to do on Saturday is make 100 meals and serve the poor. All right. Okay. So even though we may not meet like we normally do, we can still do something for people that may not have as much as I do. So the mosque will be repaired. It's not going to be.
There's no driver or anything.
Well, yeah, there's a driver. All right.
That was injured.
No, nobody was injured. He wasn't there when we got there. So, but yeah, it was a driver. We know who he is. We'll follow up the way
some restitution.
We'll follow up the way we follow up with things like this. All right, so it's all good. But nobody was in the mosque at that time. Sure. Nobody got hurt, and the
building's okay. It won't
structurally. It was a lot of damage. Okay. Yeah, it's a tremendous amount of damage for the basement.
Yeah.
And the upstairs, and that's going to be, I guess it's going to be a long haul coming back, but we'll be able to bounce back from that. And lastly, I got a couple of things. This week's edition of The Final Call, on the cover is Brother Student Minister Rasul Muhammad. If you don't know who Brother Rasul Muhammad is, that's the son of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. When Minister Farrakhan brought the Nation of Islam back, Brother Minister Rasul was the minister of Detroit. And that's where his father, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, started the Nation of Islam. He recently passed. He is one of the giants in our movement. We miss him, and be it the will of Allah, all of us will take some of that wisdom and jewels that he left to make our community a safe and decent place to live. Lastly, I want to give a shout out to our sister, Danetta Carter. Be aware that I think it's next week.
Yep, the 5th.
Right, next Saturday, CSRN will have a table. We'll have up right here. We'll have we've got our buttons. We've got the Final Call newspapers. We've got our journals. All right, and we might
and you know, I just got an announcement as I was doing some stuff. I will be here because I am not leaving till the 12th. We rescheduled 1 week, so you might even see my face there with some stickers.
Oh, that's what's up. All right, I think that covers it for me. Jody, was there some things happening?
Toledo is actually a very busy place and stuff like that. As again, as I said earlier, my condolences to the family of Kamani and all the stuff that's recently been happening.
Yeah, man.
The Soul City stuff and the other things. I personally, outside of the show and stuff like that, just in case Brother Washington's like stuff. But as a former foster kid and the person that's been doing domestic violence talks, speaks, writings, illustrations for the last decade, we failed. Just my personal opinion, seeing more of the case data and stuff like that, and knowing how hard it is for a young person to get an adult to believe them.
True.
To understand that they are really in danger, and then doing this business for so long.
Yeah.
Of nonprofits and grassroots organizations. I really hate to say it, but I know without a doubt, especially within the last couple of years, some of the people are there for the job. It's so many of us, include myself, in that slip through the cracks that don't make it to where I am.
Yeah.
I'm very happy to have seen a decade. I'm very happy to have pulled myself out from homelessness and grifting and doing all of the other stuff to be one of those people that I would have ran to save me. Unfortunately, again, we failed on this issue.
Yeah.
Luckily, he's been caught.
Yep.
And if there's anybody involved, I hope you turn yourself in. Other than those two, I can't say because I'm not there. But as an organization, going back into that mode, to the family, contact us. If there's anything we could do, I've heard reports. I don't know anything. I'm not going out hunting for stuff. But if you come to us and you need some type of assistance, I'm the treasurer. So I will open some coffers up to help. If I think from what I did here last, that House a Day or one of the funeral homes that is doing this is going to cover it. But if you need anything, if you need somebody to talk to, you can contact us. Crime survivors, I'm that too. Shout out to Anton Parks and any other organization, Cora's mission that I work with that might alleviate some of the trauma you're going through right now.
Yeah. All right. Good looking.
Now, as again, Toledo's busy and bustling and stuff. Thursday, March 20th, if you were able and out, the Smoking Bill, the Black Contractors Edition was going on. Shout out to Blair Johnson. Friday, there was several things going on. I want to give a big shout out to Elgin Rogers and Fletcher Ward and the Juice and our city council people. One of them who is here right now doing a community service. Shout out to Brittany Jones. For hosting Black Media Day.
That's what's up. Yeah.
Black Media Week. Ooh, because you know you start with.
Well, it's the first one.
It's the very first one of this kind. I got a call that Sunday from Fletcher asking if I could have something ready the Sunday following the Friday, and you know, I haven't written nothing since November, and I think I did well. It's awesome seeing all of the titans and the shoulders that I stand upon in media and stuff, because I'm technically a reporter. I read a couple of articles. So that will be next week though. But shout out to everybody that showed up for the and Brother Washington was there. If you go on the Blade right now, there it is. It's a small picture. I'm in the corner. Oh, I do see myself. I'm in the corner over there. Brother Washington was there. He's showing some of the slides. It was a beautiful event. Shout out to Nicola for the food. Again, this is Ramadan. So if you see my page looking a little strange, I'm also fasting from, not having to write a song about nobody or a poem about nobody, which has helped me immensely. So that was beautiful. If you want to see some of the article, it is in the Blade from the 24th issue. Shout out to She-Jag. She just posted it today. I believe it's either going to be in this week or next week of The Truth, and you'll get some of the poem that I wrote for that article. After that, Friday, there was the Friday night at 252 Ottawa. It's an art gallery space. It was our third one. We do this every third Friday of the month. So if you need a space for open mics, poetry, singing, jokes, laughs, all that stuff, come on down. We do that every third Thursday from 6 to 7. I might feature next month. I just got to get the information in all of that. Saturday, March 22nd, was the Toledo Black Contractors. Again, shout out to Blair. They have a monthly breakfast.
Okay.
And I'll tell you where I was during at that point in time, but the program was doing something with volunteer orientation. If you don't know who that is
volunteer orientation. I have no idea.
Program.
Oh, is that Tremaine?
Tremaine starts with R.
Rayford.
There we go. A friend of ours.
I had no idea that there was going to be a test today.
Like all right. Pop quiz.
All right.
Like the Spanish Inquisition.
Okay.
No, anyway, so that was going on March 22nd, but something that me and Brother Washington were doing along with Anton Parks and the ACLU was the Lucas County team issue update on issue 2. There's been $316 million accumulated since the farm bill passed in Ohio. We got to figure out what to do with that money. It's just kind of, limbo sitting somewhere like that. We have seen what lack of community services in our area has done. So I'm not sure if there's any more meetings planned. If there are, we'll let you know. Hopefully you can make it. I hope this money isn't going back to more police. Hopefully we do get some community centers, some healing centers, some mental health. Shout out to the pharmacy. He finally had his opening.
Oh, absolutely.
There was also the volunteer sign up for, if you know anything about Toledo, one big festival here is kind of like our version of Mardi Gras, which is the Old West End Festival. So they have their volunteer sign up. I'm pretty sure you can contact the page and everything. If you want to sign up, I'll see you there at the parade with one candidate or another. I'm not exactly sure who yet.
Who you going to be with?
Nope, not sure. I just kind of go and show up. Whoever needs a spot, I'm there. As long as I know you do good work in the community. Last year was Elgin. One year was Marcy. It's been so many different people. But Sunday, is that Sunday?
I think so.
I'm still on Saturday. There was a lot of events. Saturday in Toledo was the poetry at TMI. That's Toledo Mindful Institute. Shout out to Isabella, curated by Justin Longacre and Joni McKentry. Another open mic in the city. We pretty much have one every single week. Different spots, different locations. Hopefully you can make it to one of them.
That's right.
Sunday was the pop-up women's art exhibit, along with the Brunch So Hard presented by Toll House and Mom's House and Toledo Women. And I was able to be a part of it. People always ask me when I'm in these rooms, like, how do you get here? I know these people. I'm
let him in.
I deserve to be here.
That's right.
To be here, but it was fun. That was also my 10-year anniversary where I got to hear the poet that my mentor that put me the first mic in my hand as myself, Kay Renee. She did a beautiful set and everything. All the women there that was engaging with each other. There was the art exhibit. Shout out to all of the people, Carrie Russell, Dash Petaway, Gutter Dave, who's also in the next room because he's part of the Junction Coalition Commission, whatever. Pillar in our community. He was there. He set that up for the pop-up women's art exhibit, and it was beautiful. There's pictures on my page and stuff. You might see some of that. Also Sunday, there was the hell no to dismantle USPS, the Postal Service, because Orange Man is doing crazy stuff in the office, and there ain't too many people up there to oppose him of doing it. So shout out to every protester out there that's still trying to do something, even if they say it's illegal or they might get arrested. That's badges for us.
That's right.
And, hopefully I'll be able to get out there more this summer to do some stuff, everything like that. So coming up, now that we ain't got past last weekend, big announcement. I am not leaving the 5th, so I will be here. I talked to my person. We're going to make it so we can get some more information out. I'm going to be leaving or performing in Atlanta on the 12th. So next week we're here with me and stuff like that. So I'll pop by Danetta's and everything like that. But that is the stuff that's upcoming right now. Happening is the March membership meeting for Toledo DSA. There are actually 2 doors up from us.
Yes, a lot happening at Mott Branch.
A lot happening in Mott Branch. A lot happening right now. Again, if you're an organization or trying to start something, this would be the time to do it. April, spring is when most people set their budgets, their quarterly reports. If they want to do events, that's going to happen all the way until the end of the year. Get in now, talk to some people, get out there, get friendly and social.
That's right.
Tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. is the Lunch with Leaders, Discovering Your Leadership. That's at 1001 Front Street. I believe that's the Glass City area on the park.
Yeah.
Might be able to go. It might be a ticketed event, so go to the event, check your social media for the Lunch with Leaders. And hopefully you'll be able to make it. That is 11:30 to 1 o'clock. This Thursday is also the 6 o'clock artist support group. Shout out to Joe. Group of us kind of just came together just to give each other encouragement and stuff like that when we don't want to do a show or go to an open mic or write a book, do some art, just a little tight-knit community. So if you can make that tomorrow, that's the Thursday at 6. This Saturday is, that's like somebody that's in Memphis. I'm sorry. But this Saturday at 3 p.m. is Toledo Has Spoken. If you don't know Dale Grace, his son was just on the news, or grandson, Dale Grace III, was on the news and everything like that. But he holds the Toledo Has Spoken, which is a recorded and live event that gets transported over to Buckeye Cable. So if you can make that, we would love to see you. It's at 3 o'clock this Saturday. So hope to see you out. And I think I want to say, one more thing before we come back and we see you on the 1st, which we know is going to be April Fool's, but we will be here.
That's right. Or will we? Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. We will.
But Monday, March 31st at 5:30 is the Door Street to Adams Street engagement public live. They just had one here yesterday. And it'll be here again, Mott Branch Library on the 31st. And that Tuesday, before we go on air, is Riverwalk Tours, ages 16 to up at the Glass City Riverwalk. Anything else that you guys might know about, make sure to let us know before we come back here Tuesday. And that has been my What's Going On with the City Little Time.
All right.
We'll think of a segment name.
Yeah, we will. We call those shout outs and solutions. Those are the places that we want to shout out. And in all of these events can help put to rest that thing when people say it's nothing to do.
Yes. Reminded me of one big one tomorrow. If you know what Democracy Day is, me, Brother Washington, a lot of activists has participated in that for many, 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 many years, where you can go in front of city council as a U.S. citizen or person and ask them what you want done from the community. You don't have to schedule a meeting or have it on the docket. This is our docket. We will be there tomorrow. I believe it's 1. I tell you 1
I think so.
Yeah, so we will be there tomorrow. You might catch us on the news speaking and talking some stuff. I'm definitely going.
Or getting carried out.
Maybe getting carried out, because I'm definitely being my my talk about we failed with this young woman and seeing maybe they could do something more with their abandoned houses. One last thing on that, because I don't want to beat a dead horse, is from what I've seen, let the place be tore down, build a memorial. Nobody needs to be walking around trying to have an event center. Sorry, hungry black man. I know you might be trying to do a lot of good stuff in Toledo, but that is something me as a representative and an elected official of the East Side do not need in that area. And that's my final word on that.
I second that. And I thought that I saw that, then I saw something else saying that wasn't going to happen. So
it's been pushed out a lot. Unfortunately, it's been pushed out lately with us for clout.
And
the abandoned houses and the 2 young boys. It's sickening. But you know what? It's Ramadan. I can't say too much to daylight.
All right. Well, In about 45 minutes, we'll log back in. Hey, listen, if you want to support what we do, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, listen to us on Spotify, listen and watch us on YouTube. And as soon as we get time, we're going to be posting on X, formerly known as Twitter. If you want to support us, you can support us via Cash App. That's the cash tag CSRN Toledo 419. PayPal is CSRN 419. If you want some of the Black Lives Matter signs, we still have some of those left. Inboxes, we'll bring them right to your door. And also we have a few of the defund the police signs, or the defund Toledo police, just so that we're specific. You know which ones we want to defund, that you don't need another tank. All right. Even though, yeah, they don't need another tank. They don't need another tank. I think that I've covered everything that I think we covered everything we needed to cover, and I think we did it in the best possible way. Shout out to Pastor Irene Blue and her husband Tony Blue for coming into the studio today. Be it the will of the universe, we'll have some more dynamic guests.
I think Haley might be coming back.
Haley.
Week.
Oh, I think we've got Haley and we've got Anika Fields with the empowerment toolbox coming back next
great
week.
Way, Nika too, so that'd be a great way to start National Poetry Month.
Oh, it is? Okay, all right. Maybe I'll put something together. I'll go into one of your books and
I think that would be awesome. I don't know if I've ever had anybody read my stuff back in this last decade.
Okay, maybe that'll be that'll be my thing. All right. Next week. All right.
Live, right? On air.
All right, that's all right.
In the comments, I'll remind him, like he said, he's gonna read a poem.
Absolutely. Hey, speaking of poems, we're gonna get to 5 minutes of heat. 5 minutes of heat is how we close things out. We don't close things out with Robert rules and banging a gavel. We use creative expression, and 5 minutes of heat comes from that title of the song, 5 Minutes of Funk by Houdini. We just took the title, kind of repurposed it to fit what we're doing now. And Jody's he's been solid on 5 minutes of heat from 2014 to 2025. What do you have for us today?
Well, today is we are closing up with National Women's History Month, because International Women's Day was last week. I'm going to do this piece. It's a piece about loss. It is actually the last piece that I wrote before the one you'll hear next week. Called Just a Question. I wrote it for a poet friend of mine named June. Today I'm going to dedicate it to Marty. So, just a question. Let's begin. Peace. How many people walk through your soul? How many glimpses of other lives and social media and slight whispers walk through the places you find peace at? It's a question I often ask myself as I grow older. And then I'm hit with a smell, a sound, a phrasing that takes me back to the moment when I thought I had a connection with someone. How many people do you keep with you as you walk through the shattered realms of dreams and tie-dyed nightmares? Are you really just this vessel, just holding on to ghosts of memories that once were and can never be again? Silently slipping through generations of people, whispering to them the memories you once had. I haven't said much in a while. I've been blissfully letting my aura captivate those who get a moment to know me, not recording my tapestry of memories once known, the solitary thread of line that will be read by generations who might not get a chance to know me. How many people walk through your soul, getting glimpses of people you once knew as they go on to tell stories about this chance meeting you? In peace.
And as always, we snap our fingers. Jody, once again, great job. Great podcast today. Another shout out to Pastor Irene Blue and her husband for coming through, and
all the online members.
Yeah, Reggie Williams, Haley Shears. Who else did we miss? Jody Summers, and everybody that, that watches us, and all of you that's going to rewatch it. And as always, all lives can't matter until Black Lives Matter. And Black lives can't matter until all Black lives matter. Justice or else?
Yeah.
Peace.